Good morning, y'all. It's the Florida Cajun. Today we're doing about a 4.5 pound pork loin. I've taken it and injected it with about a quarter bottle of Creole garlic from Zatarain's. Then we sopped it down with some Mojo, and on top of it is the smoked infused. This is maple from Pit Boss. And here in just a second, we're going to be putting this on our Pit Boss smoker and smoking it for a few hours. We'll check back in with you. Here we are now with our Pit Boss 820 Pro Series pellet smoker. I usually use a mixed bag, half apple and half hickory. There's some competition blends that I use from time to time. We've got our pork loin on here. It's been on for about 45 minutes. We're right at 200 degrees. We have it set to 200, but it's spiked up just a little bit to 230. It'll adjust itself back down momentarily. Let's take a look at our pork loin. Now, as you saw it in the marinating stages, it's still in my stainless steel cooking pan. For the first hour or so, I'll have it smoking good. I like to keep it in there. Once all the juices, all the marinated you put on there, sit and soak for a little bit. Most people just put their marinade on, pour it on the meat, come out here and slap it on the grill. First thing that happens is all your marinade just runs off down on the grate to the grill. So here in about 30 minutes or so, we'll take it out of there, let it smoke. We have the fat cap down, and we're gonna let this smoke for about 5 more hours, and we'll check back in periodically. All right, it's been about an hour or so, and we're checking back in on our Pit Boss, our pork loin. You can see we're still right at about 200 degrees. We have it set to. Got our pork loin in the pan for a little while. Now it's time to take it out. Got a pigtail meat look here. Let's take it out, and I'm going to put it out here, fat cap down, because we want to get some of our fat to start melting off the bottom. Pan here, we are just going to discard and clean up all the juices that are in there. We've been smoking for about 4 hours now. We've got our temperature set at 225, showing a temperature right now at 240. You can see over there, Pro 1, I'm using our meat thermometer in there to check the internal temp. With these Pit Bosses and any poker pellet smoker, they'll range a little bit in temperature. They'll fluctuate up 10-15 degrees or so. And you can see how we're looking. We're starting to get a little crust on it. The fat's starting to melt off. And there's a temperature probe. Comes with the Pit Boss 820. My temperature here, probably since I've had the lid open, showing just a little bit under 200, but that's okay. She'll poke back right up here in just a second, and we'll check back in an hour or so. Okay, we're in hour 5 of smoking our pork loin. We're 200, 225. I just opened the lid a second ago. We have, according to our probe, we have hit our meat stall for pork. We've been at 165, 167 for about an hour. Now we're waiting for the stall to break. Starting to create that nice bark on our pulled pork. Once our stall breaks and we start getting up to about 190, 200, I wrap it up in burnt end paper, and we will stick it in our cooler for about 45 minutes. With burnt end paper, You don't use the white paper or the butcher's paper. It has a wax on it and been chemically treated, and it's not recommended to wrap warm meats up in. Now we've got it. I'm going to use my pigtail hook here. Pull it off. It's pretty tender. Make sure I don't drop this. The dog would like that. Put it right down there in our butcher paper. And we're going to wrap it up nice and tight because we wanted to get that 204, 205 temperature for pulling. So we're going to set it right over here. In around 30, 45 minutes, she'll be good. Here's our pork loin. We pulled it out of the Yeti cooler. It's been soaked in there for about 45 minutes. As you can see, it's started to sweat through the paper, through the butcher paper that we used. This is one of the reasons I like to use butcher paper. It allows the meat to breathe and allows it to come out. If you use foil, it's just going to sit in that foil packet and steam, and the meat gets really mushy. So I want to maintain the bark that I have on here. I want my pork loin to be firm. I found if you let it wrap in foil and you put it in a cooler for 45 minutes or an hour, the meat's really, really mushy. So now I've got my shredding cloth, Wolverine style, and what you do is you just stick them in, and I usually hold one. Being left-handed, I pull and twist out with this one. So you can see it's pretty easy. The whole thing is broke apart. It's going to shred apart very easy, but the meat is not mushy. It's still got some consistency to it. I'll be able to take this end right here off pretty easily. Just put it in there, and all this meat is going to start shredding off. And you're going to sit here and just keep working it, keep working it, keep working it until we get it down to manageable bite-sized pieces. The dog is praying and hoping that Daddy drops a piece on the floor, which usually happens. I went in and took the big end of the pork loin. After I shredded it down into some pieces, I just chopped it up so we have this small, perfect size pork for sandwiches, for barbecue sauce, whatever. We've got some Sweet Baby Ray's, some Alabama white sauce, and some sticky fingers. And this is probably going to be put on hamburger buns, and we're going to have barbecue sandwiches.